Well, Gavin, I guess in some better news, this was today. So Xbox Series X just dropped a bunch of fucking news out of
There's our
nowhere.
boy Joey Screbbles. You
Joey
love to say
Screbbles.
that name.
You hate to see it, you love to see him, but Joey Screbbles. This is of IGN. I forgot to write that down. So and we'll get into this. It's a meaty fucking steak we can chew apart here. But the Xbox Series X full specs revealed, and I'm going to use your brain to actually pick apart what these specs mean.
You know I don't know hardware.
You know more than I do. You know way more than I do. So I'm going to use your glorious brain.
Fuck a teraflop is.
Well, there's more than one. We know that much.
I didn't even know people were on like 32 gigs of RAM.
Well, yeah, they go into the details here, so it's pretty nuts. Now, the full specs of the full specs list for the Xbox Series X has been released. The specs were revealed in an Xbox blog post, and you can see the full list below on IGN's website here. So those specs also confirm what the Series X mystery port is. So as Digital Foundry reports, and Digital Foundry has a super dope, in-depth like YouTube video picking it apart, and they got to go hands-on. So Microsoft and Seagate have made a proprietary external 1 terabyte SSD that can be plugged into the console for extra storage. Essentially, it's a giant memory card.
It's a terabyte SSD?
Yeah. So it's a very small one too. So we're looking at a picture of it inserting to the back of this Xbox One Series X
That
here.
looks like a memory card. Like, look at that USB next to it. That's the size of a memory card.
Yeah.
And look how close that is to the CPU.
So that's the thing. Apparently, it needs to go directly in there, and that's why you can't use external hard drives for Xbox Series X games. And that's a big...
That's good, though. Set that standard.
I think you're right, although I'm hoping that, and we'll get into it, I'm hoping the price point on the special proprietary memory cards isn't insane, like something like the Vita or whatever.
It's going to hurt a little bit.
It's not going to be
but
good.
Here's the thing. If they set this standard, hopefully PC motherboards are going to start following suit with this standard. Now, PC, they have their own cool thing where you can like plug I don't really know how it works, but a hard drive, a solid state hard drive into a graphics card slot, and it's that much closer. But this is an amazing idea.
Gotcha.
This is fantastic. This could become standard. Sony could adopt it eventually. Hell, Nintendo could jump on board with it. This could be a big deal for the entire industry if they adopt this.
And see,
this is fantastic.
I didn't realize that. See, that's why I need your glorious PC brain guy. So we go back into this.
Phones. That's the thing. Can we? It looks small enough. You could potentially, but I don't know.
We'll see. I mean, that's a good idea. So Digital Foundry's testing includes some impressive reading. The Series X processor, for instance, is powerful enough to run 4 Xbox One S game sessions simultaneously. Ray tracing, a major point of pride for the Xbox Series X and PS5, is also delivering apparently incredible results. Dedicated hardware inside the Series X seemingly means that the console can handle more intensive ray tracing than expected, harnessing the equivalent of 25 teraflops of power, despite the console's GPU having 12 teraflops.
That's definitely impressive. I've heard with some of the games, Metro Exodus, the ray tracing isn't as much as people thought. There'd be one point of ray trace, typically the sun, and then everything else would be traditional lighting. So they have to fuse the two so you can make it work, but not perfectly.
Gotcha.
It's not everything it was promised. So getting more of what we were promised is a big deal. And potentially when they release a later version of the Series X down the line, we could have that much more ray tracing. It could be that much more badass.
Yep.
That being said, maybe we want to hold on till the next ray tracing generation.
Sure.
But that's a big deal. And you think about running 4 versions or being able to render 4 versions of a game at once simultaneously. It's really, I don't think people really understand just how much effort goes into rendering a single frame of any game ever, keeping it running as smoothly as they are. There's so much optimization. So running 4 is stupid.
Just to kind of like compare like how much power is under the hood, they can possibly do that. I guess that helps with like reflections. I know I'm a big nerd and I never understand how they work and why they're not used, but it always catches me. I always notice it in reflections in games, especially mirrors in games. And I always like, well, pick your brain. It's hard to do. It's hard to do, right? So at least this is kind of like showing me that they don't have to render all these different reflections, but now they can kind of start dipping into that ability to like render, mirrors and just like complicated reflections in general.
Right.
It seems like this is down that direction.
I would still say now we've had, I remember the first time real-time ray tracing was shown off was, actually that was maybe only 2 years ago. But this technology is definitely still in its infancy. It's not the standard yet.
Gotcha.
And it's going to be a while till it's a standard, but this is a cool first step.
Although once it's in consoles, that kind of like standardizes
It's
stuff.
a big help.
Right?
I'm honestly still more excited about that terabyte memory card.
Yeah, so they go into detail as far as like what kind of
That could really be
technology
standard.
they're using. So dedicated memory cards, the cards simply slot into the rear of the console and are used as a quick way to extend the built-in 1 terabyte NVMe SSD.
It's already got a built-in?
It already has. Yeah, it already has. It comes with 1 terabyte standard.
So you don't need this.
No, but you can expand because you're locked into that 1 terabyte. That's the limit on the actual console. This lets you expand to a larger size if you need to. Microsoft is using PCI Express 4.0 connections for both the internal and NVMe SSD and external SSDs, meaning the speeds are designed for next-gen games. It also means that games are optimized for the Xbox Series X will need to run on the internal SSD or the expansion cards. Microsoft's Larry Herb revealed in a tweet that owners can continue to use USB 3.1 and external HDD to run Xbox One 360. So your external hard drives can be used still for these last-gen games, but for Series X games, they need to run on their proprietary memory card or the SSD that's in the console. I'm hoping these 1 terabyte expansion cards aren't that nuts, because the first thing I want to do is upgrade the hard drive, because 1 terabyte, once you have these beefy fucking games, isn't that much.
It's still a lot. It's going to be a lot less on the next gen, especially like Call of Duty alone ate up my whole hard drive.
Yeah, Modern Warfare, and they keep adding all these different updates that are like 50 gigs, 60 gigs. Like, what are you guys doing over there?
Their textures are stupid high res.
Apparently. So like one of these 1 terabyte things is going to be just for Modern Warfare, apparently.
Which blows my mind, because you look at Crysis 3. Which still arguably looks better than Modern Warfare, whatever the fuck we're on.
The new one?
Yeah. And somehow was like a quarter of the size. What are we doing here?
I don't know if it's like, not laziness, that's not the right term, because obviously maybe they're not optimizing it the right way or streamlining it. I don't know.
I don't understand.
Yeah. So that is going to be interesting. It's going to be, it's going to be interesting to see how much do they charge for these things, because people are going to want to upgrade their standard SSD that's in there, the 1 terabyte.
I would at least say 300.
Ooh, for 1 terabyte, as far as like if you compare it to like an SSD.
You put that in your PC, you could
sure
capture a lot of stuff. That's
right.
1 terabyte's a lot of memory.
It is a lot, but we're moving towards
and
like
solid
that
state,
being,
which is hard to do. It's hard to increase size in solid state form.
I see. Gotcha. Well, I have some other details on that, Gavin. So here's another breakdown of the card. So this is from Seagate itself. We're proud to announce our partnership with Xbox to develop the Seagate storage expansion card, and we're looking at a picture here. This is just what they look like. It's kind of it's cool and novel how it's like going back to actual memory cards that we've known growing up, but not at all on that scale. Like, it's pretty nuts how much storage you can fit in these in the same size, basically. Right. But so going through these other tweets, Xbox also, yeah. So
that's an 18 cubic fridge.
So Xbox tweeted this. This is from their account today.
Just to flex my fridge knowledge. That's probably a Whirlpool. It's gonna be a pain in the ass to put on those handles, but fine, I'll do it for you. All right, that's all I'm done.
Look at the fridge expert, Gavin. Yeah. How much? What does this bad boy look like it weighs? This standard fridge to you? What do you think? Is that a 2-man job? Is that a 1-man job? What do you think?
Oh, that's a 1-man job.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. I mean, you want 2 people, but when we had a day where somebody called in sick and we had to send someone out solo, you just send them out with fridges like that.
How many people do you think to lift this Xbox One Series X?
1?
Yeah, okay. But yeah, so Xbox...
It's a weird trick question.
So they tweeted this image out as a joke, but just a fridge for scale. Yeah,
gotcha.
Just showing the same size comparison here.
I mean, that was the thing. You mentioned that really it's basically the size of maybe 1.5 GameCubes stacked on top of each other.
Pretty much, roughly.
So it's not as big as...
No.
Maybe 2 GameCubes, but it's not as big as I've given it guff for.
Yeah. So I have a couple of influencers. There is Digital Foundry, and then Austin Evans has hands-on with the Xbox One. And so there's in-depth video that I suggest everyone check out. But this is him handling the actual Xbox Series X and talking about. So
that's roughly from his neck to right there.
Yeah. So that's a good. I think it is 2 GameCubes stacked on top of each other, or 2 Xbox One X's, but like not the same width, just like the same thickness. Like if they're like lengthwise.
It is a strange way of building it though, because no one builds a motherboard with those dimensions. I guess maybe
Now you're
Apple did
right.
that at one point.
So one thing I think is nuts, and you got to watch this video. They let him Xbox or Microsoft had him on site. They have all the components separated, and he got to like just basically build it and show you how it's built together. And these are just like
That's a
stripped down
big
versions.
Fucking fan. Holy shit.
Yeah. So they talk about
oh my god.
in the video they talk about how they specially made this fan, and it's made to like just draw in air in a precise way that really benefits the form factor.
This is why they wanted silent, because if that fan starts sounding like it's gonna take off, it's actually going to take off.
Yep.
Holy
It's a vapor chamber heatsink thing. Yeah. So the Xbox One X
weird.
has this like vapor chamber thing, and they're using the same thing, but it's like a beefed up version of it. So that fan, there's only one fan. It's just that one.
That's so strange.
Yeah.
That is a meaty heatsink though. So standard looking.
It also goes over the memory too.
That CPUs just always perpetually look like CPUs.
Yeah, they really don't change. They just get more complicated, I guess. But
Maybe
yes,
the cell did.
the memory is what
memory
it.
card looks
so
like
the-
a memory card.
Yeah, yeah, and it's kind of encased in this aluminum chassis thing. But yeah, so the video itself.
We are looking at the thing.
Yeah, we are
You're
looking.
previewing it.
Yes. So I mean, I highly encourage everyone to check this out. He basically,
what the fuck is that where the oil goes?
it's like another heat thing or protective layer, but he builds it and.
Ooh, I like that picture in the background.
Oh
showing
yeah,
the
he
air
references that. So
dissipates.
that's them like trying to explain like the air flow.
That is thicker. That is stacked a lot thicker than I anticipated.
It is, but then it's sideways, and that's how the fan brings up all the heat out of it. It's pretty nuts. It's really very unique. So that's the fan in real time there. It's pretty cool. So they talk to the architects. They break down the specs on it and like why they built it the way they built it. It's a pretty cool video. But he was there on site with them, and they're. I love how, so if we were to freeze frame this, we've heard nothing from PlayStation, right? They're really just like they're in the dark. But Xbox has given us this Maxim spread, multiple scenes of it. We're seeing
that's a 3-pager.
Oh yeah, and I love that they're being so like I guess honest or just forthcoming. They're saying here's what this is.
They're just ahead.
Yep.
And they're using it. This is poker when you have the chip advantage. Push those motherfuckers.
Also, it's poker when you lost your house in the last game. And so you're like, you're fucking, it's all or nothing now. And so they're showing it.
I like that comparison.
But like, I love that because they're against the wall, they're doing stuff like this, which is so like fan forward and fan thinking. I love it. And so they're just in a great spot right now. But so they've had Digital Foundry, they have Austin Evans, and they're just picking this thing apart, and they're completely just showing everything.
That's
like what
impressive.
console launch have you seen where they let someone take it apart before this thing has come out?
Never before.
Right?
I've
Like, it's
definitely
so-
always seen after every launch somebody buys one and destroys it.
Yeah, there's like
but-
iFixit does that or whatever those companies will
Yeah.
break it down. But like, no, this is
No,
part
I
of their.
mean destroys it with a hammer or something.
Okay.
Right in front of the people waiting in line.
Oh God,
That's
no,
what they
you're
do.
right. Yeah, they did with like PS3s and shit.
Wow.
No, yeah, I think this is a great advertisement. Point. They're just like really they understand what they're doing and they're confident. And so they actually showed off some of the controller here. Here's the this is the Pro one. No, this is the new one. This is the new one. Yeah, it's got the different like D-pad and there's a share button. Yeah, look great. So yeah, there's a lot of news coming out of it.
That's a whole lot of beer.
Yeah, that is damn. That's really good. I'm digging that. He's maybe a warlock or something going on.
Which is the other day too. I saw a thing on IGN that was, I want to say trending, but maybe it wasn't. But of really the silence from Sony is deafening, and it is. I can't hear shit at this point.
It's weird at this point unless they just come out of the gate going, here's this, and this, and here's gameplay, and here's a price. Unless they do that, there's so much ground that Xbox has over them right now.
Yeah. My concern, and I think it's very real, is that stuff's not going as planned.
Maybe
they're not making deadlines. There's issues.
That'd be rough.
They've had, it feels like pretty smooth launches for a while now. Maybe they're finally having their first. This is their Wii U moment right here.
I'm hoping not, but I think it's possible that that's what's going on, unless that they're geniuses and they're watching this and this isn't scaring them at all, and they're going, "Hey, that's cool, but we have this thing planned that's just gonna shock everyone." I don't know what that is.
Yeah.
Also, I think because we've seen Xbox, they have more to lose now, so they're really trying to just be ahead of it. And maybe because PlayStation is riding this huge success, they have less interest in like showing their cards right away. I don't know, but as the year we get to the half point of the year and towards the end and holiday season, stuff has to start coming out, and PlayStation needs to start talking about it.
Right.
Because all this ground is being given to Xbox right now.
Xbox is just in control. And like I said, with that xCloud, they have room to have people on an Xbox 360 playing the fucking Xbox Series X games.
Yep.
And I'll pay it. I'll do it.
So here's another breakdown. They got to talk or reveal some of the load times. So as far as like comparing it to traditional Xbox One X. So here's a video going.
I think you flipped it. Oh no, you didn't.
Nope.
I'm never
Gotta trust your boy,
I don't
Gil.
know why you'd put the actual one on the right and the preview on the left.
I don't know. That's how it goes, man. That's how
All
it
right,
starts.
so load time for Division.
Yeah. So
Which I'd say the Division. Oh, that's not the Division. That's
this is the State of
game.
Decay.
Yeah, State of Decay.
Although, so I paused it. So the load time should be. It's surprising how slow the load time is for Xbox One X. But yeah, so it was like 4 seconds, 5 seconds, and then the game loaded, and it's still trying to load on Xbox One X. But they do this with another game. I want to say it's like Forza or something.
That seems exaggerated.
And this is coming out of Microsoft, so it might be. You're right, it might be. But that's what they're kind of showing off here.
Yeah.
But yeah, so they're really leaning hard into that, showing that the SSD that this proprietary one is key to them having this really super fast load time.
Yeah.
But that's the thing. We're kind of unpacking this, and we'll get more information as the months come by. But they're on track with showing what they need to show, and Sony is nowhere to be seen.
We're not worried about them at this point. That's the thing.
With Microsoft, no.
We're worried about Sony.
I guess the only thing that you could worry about is how much is this thing going to be, and what could you still pontificate on? Like, what would this thing be, knowing what we know now? I feel like $600 isn't insane to demand because it's quite a beefy machine.
I still say it's too low.
I think you're right. I think they're going to sell this at a loss if they are, but $600 is nuts to demand.
I don't think they can do at a loss with their current strategy. The fact that they're giving so much away, I don't know that they're making money off of Game Pass right now. That's a damn good deal for the amount of stuff we're getting.
Yeah, that's a good question.
I don't know.
It seems like they wouldn't be, but although the whole market or the whole industry is trying to move to these month by month, systems. So like the money is to be made there, but is it enough to let them sell this thing at a loss?
We need our halfway battle pass. You need to get the battle pass and then still be buying V-Bucks afterwards.
Right. That's the brilliant plan. Yeah.
Yeah.
I have the some of the specs here, and I'll transition here just to break down like. So since you're the PC expert, you're the brain.
Massive fall.
Now, what do you think of some of these details? So gotcha. So 12 teraflops confirmed, right? 16 gigabytes RAM. That's pretty big as far as the PC world, or is that like that's nothing to blush at?
I don't know what I have.
You don't know what you have? You got to know what you have.
I have.
Okay. Well, I made a horrible mistake asking you.
You have.
No, of course you know more than I do. So 1 terabyte. We talked about the expansion card.
That's good. 1 terabyte internal is good. Solid state. You can load super quick.
Yeah.
It's gonna be nice that. They can optimize this even more than Windows. So Windows boots up 20 seconds. This is going to boot up 5 seconds.
That's awesome.
Especially when you factor into that live reload of several different games.
Yeah, so that same video with Austin Evans, they in real time cycle between 5 different games. So they go through State of Decay, Forza, one of the Gears. Like they go through all these, and it saves all the different save points. So it's 5 different last gen games that you can switch between. Now they still have the 4K UHD Blu-ray drive. I don't need this, and I wonder if you can cut the cost by having an option where you don't have it. I mean, they did that with the Xbox One S, the sad one. I'm hoping that they exploit those options because I don't need that thing.
I almost want it because I don't have a disc player in my house anymore.
Oh, that's true.
The last one that I have was my Blu-ray player on my PlayStation 3. But it broke, so I got it replaced, and it works almost as bad now.
Where it's just like hovering and then just
you have
chattering.
You have to shove the disc in at just the right angle,
of course.
That angle is never the same. It's
so it's got some wear and tear on it.
Yeah,
I think it's good to have some kind of disc drive in your house, but I just more and more it's like I don't really need it. But it is smart to make sure you have some kind of backup plan.
I mean, I can't use Redbox without it.
Yeah, are you a pretty often Redbox user?
Well, I'm not going to use it right now, but